Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Canopy Cafe on Tuesday, August 4th, 2020. I can't believe it is already August. I'm sure many of you all are in the same boat. My name is Ben Smock. I'm the Director of Development with Canopy. Canopy is the startup nonprofit organization based in Louisville of Kentucky, and our mission is to grow Kentucky businesses to positively impact people, our planet, and our future. And we started hosting these Canopy Cafes several months ago at the onset of the global pandemic, because we used to have these conversations in good business. People would stop by the office, business leaders, nonprofit leaders, really committed Kentuckians, and we'd have these really cool conversations about good business, and we miss having those. So we took it to the virtual space, and we're very glad to have had the wonderful guests so far. And today we have a special guest and new friend to Canopy, old friend of some of our team members, Jerome Baker. Jerome is the Associate Director of the River City Drum Corps. I'm sure many of you tuning in have seen a wonderful performance of theirs or know about their amazing work in regards to educational enhancement. And also Jerome is the CEO of his new endeavor, Baker and Associates. So some more to come on that soon. We are really glad to welcome Jerome today and to continue the conversation. And without further ado, let's go ahead and bring Jerome on here.
Good morning.
Hey, Jerome, how you doing?
I am well. Thank you for having me. How are you today?
I'm good. Just another day in the life, working from home, just tuning into the virtual space.
Yeah.
So things going good. Things are going good. So you are, relatively new to the Canopy world, right? We were fortunate to be connected by our mutual friend, Alicia Ariati, and, So we've been having some conversations about Canopy and your new venture and the work that you've done with the Drum Corps. Yep. But you go way back with one of our team members, Ben Solee.
Absolutely. One of the joys of the Drum Corps and working for the Drum Corps is that you are in a space to introduce your kids to some great talent around Louisville. And every once in a while, we'll just get a call that somebody wants to work with us. And they say, hey, can you have the kids? Can we practice? So Ben called for a Nulu festival a couple years ago. Amazing time that was had by the kids, and we were able to link up with his band and get a couple of tunes in, and the kids and Ben, and they just kind of rocked the house down on a late night in the fall in Nulu.
Absolutely. Very cool. Very cool. Well, we're glad to make the connection. Glad to have you on the cafe this morning. So I gave a very brief intro for you. So for our listeners, tell us a little bit about yourself and the work that you've been doing.
Cool, thanks. Currently, I am the Associate Director of River City Drum Corps, an organization that is near and dear to my heart, as I'm a founding member of the River City Drum Corps. So our founding director recently retired, called on a couple of alumni to come back and put us in position to kind of carry the spirit of the drum to the next level. Doing that, we work with kids at River City Drum Corps. We're a leadership development program, and we use drums as a vehicle to just kind of pull the best out of our kids, whatever that looks like, arts, education, and things of that nature. So what's happened for me is I've been in the space of wanting to be an entrepreneur, and leaving the corporate sector to come back and be an arts administrator has allowed me some time and space to kind of work on some other things late at night when I'm not working for River City Drum Corps. And during the pandemic, I was able to birth my business, Baker and Associates, a consultant agency and management agency that looks to work with small businesses in the primarily Black owned, but we're not limiting ourselves to working with only Black owned, but just giving them the space of helping businesses reach some sustainability by adapting processes and business practices that are kind of practiced around in different sectors, but sometimes lack of access keeps us from getting information on how to do those things appropriately. So I want to kind of be a liaison to that for our business owners.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I think, we see a lot of that with our work at Canopy, supporting the small business sector and, building something that is, helping small businesses accomplish a lot of this, intuitive good, this intuitive know-how that they have, right? They basically understand, what they need to do to run the business successfully, and they have this heart behind it. They want to do good for their community, and they want to be an inclusive organization. They want to operate in the right way. So, I know your venture is very new, but obviously you've learned a lot over, the course of your, working life. So tell us, like what you learned in working with small businesses kind of before you launched your new endeavor.
That's great. First of all, just the fact that Canopy exists and the goals that you guys have, I think is very important, especially in a time like today, right? Where it's easy to say that to put up a sign or make have a press conference about your, equity, diversity and inclusion, or just simply just supporting Black Lives Matter or anything that you deem important at the moment. But there's no accountability and action for that, and having some stepping stones for that, jumping in that space is very courageous. And I think for the long run, it can change the landscape of how we do business.
Yeah,
So to get back to my question that you directed towards me, I saw some people, I saw friends of mine diving off into the entrepreneurial sector. And what happens is that people have great ideas, but lacking sometimes just simple resources as connecting with somebody, something to do an apprenticeship prior to, or just having a friend or a family member in the same industry that could just pass down breadcrumbs of information while you do your trial and error. So unfortunately, in business, depending on your model, the learning curves can be detrimental to your business and your success. Some people don't have the capital to make the mistakes and continue on, but some people have great vision. So what I saw is partly just being a part of River City Drum Corps, having the opportunity as a kid to understand business processes and flows and things, and then actually going to school. And then, like you said, work history. I saw an opportunity to sit down with my friends and say, hey, listen, you got a great idea. Let's start from the genesis and let's work on a business plan. And then from there, if that does, then we'll sit down and figure out what it is you need to do to get up and running. So that was just kind of the need, just seeing my friends with great ideas, but not having sometimes just some of the business acumen to put those into practice for sustainability.
Absolutely. We'll always say that it takes a village, when it comes to raising kids. And I think similarly with getting a business off the ground, right? Whether it's, initial funding rounds where you're relying on friends and family, or whether it's, like you said, the knowledge and the insight that you need that can be industry specific and can be just, general business acumen. You need all these pieces to lend itself to the likelihood of success. And there's still no guarantees, but you got to put these things in your corner. You have to really build up your muscle. And so it's important to have resources like what you're providing, for small businesses as they grow, and similar to what Canopy's doing. And appreciate your kind words about, our work, specifically lately with the 27 campaign and fund, really providing a safe, supportive, action-oriented space to strengthen diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, and to invest in Black-owned businesses, and to really, create something sustainable. Because, the campaign was centered around 27 days of recruiting companies to take action and offering educational content. But obviously, 27 days is an insufficient amount of time to actually, accomplish what we need. And so we needed to create something in perpetuity. And that's what we'll be talking about a little bit later once we announce our event that's coming on this Thursday.
Right.
But that's what we're all about. And we love, making these connections, learning about new businesses that are getting started, and, really focusing on, the same sort of businesses and people that we are, and really providing those resources. And so, I'm curious, kind of shifting gears back to the drum corps.
Yeah.
So, I have been a huge fan of the drum corps. And, like when we first met, I know that you have and the drum corps have done shows with Ben Sollee and all that. And it's so cool. So tell us a little bit about, the mission behind the drum corps, really devoted towards enhancing, educational development, and especially for young Black people in our community, and then really, just creating this strong connective tissue through arts, through music. Tell us like how you, as a founding member, how important that has been for you and what you see it offering for the youth in our community.
Oh, wow. Great question. I'll be very just kind of base level. River City Drum Corps saved my life. So having the opportunity to come back and put action to the mission of enhancing the lives of our families through arts, education, and culture is a dream come true. To know the importance of having a space for our kids to figure out who they are in this society instead of who they're being told unlocks a level of greatness and appreciation for themselves that they just don't get anywhere else. Just to be quite frankly, the space that our kids have to be young and Black and understand that their existence is more than just what they're taught here about Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks and slavery. To open that door lends them to understanding and believing that they can do anything that they put their minds to. And our goal at River City Drum Corps is to support that to the fullest extent. The drums pull them in because by nature, drumming is a part of our culture. And even learning how important drumming is in our culture and understanding some of the ramifications that took place for drummers throughout history, especially in the transition here to America, is definitely just a history lesson in itself. So the level of empowerment that we're able to give our kids, and through just being able to have access to some of the things that we do, like performing with Ben Sollee at Nulu festivals and performing with Buckethead at the Palace Theater, or performing in front of any and every governor of the last 25 years here in Louisville, or the mayor, or anything like that. And those are small things, but just having access to those things really can change the trajectory and the direction of a kid's life. So being able to facilitate that environment is key to our families, because the goal is to give our kids access. And it kind of ties in with what Canopy does. It's one thing to say that you support such and such, you support equity, you support diversion, but if people of color and people of these marginalized sectors of society don't have a representation at the table, if there's a meeting before the meeting, then and there's nobody present that's going to be affected by that meeting, then all we're doing is talking. So to step out in this new space and call accountability for that is paramount, especially in a time like today, right? Is what are you doing? And our kids, and what we're teaching our kids is we're hoping to raise the next leaders, the next doctors, the next lawyers. We've had all of those come out of River City Drum House program. And so that's our goal, is to just commit it to empowering our youth, providing opportunities, putting the puzzle pieces where they may be traditionally just disenfranchised. We put them in those spaces to the point that where they feel like they belong there. When they feel like they belong, then they don't have any problem thriving in those environments, right? So that's what River City Drum Corps wants to do: give them the opportunity to realize that you can do just as much as your counterpart, even though society really tells you that the odds are against you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that's incredibly well said, Jerome, and really speaks to the importance of, finding the seats at the table, really creating this elevated awareness of organizations that are doing work like that, and the connective tissue between the next generation of leaders and, our community that like are really doing this important work. And so, I think I'm curious, as somebody who kind of wears multiple hats, right? Your experience with the drum corps and now launching this new business endeavor, how do you really, uplift the importance of, that business mindset to the participants in the drum corps?
Yeah, great. Another great question. You're great. Like, I didn't know our phone calls that we've had personally, we have great conversations, but this interview is amazing.
I'm going a little bit off script here, but
no way. I
like good turning,
Yeah. Definitely. I think for the kids, I want them to understand that they control their destiny.
Yeah.
Right. And if I've been a worker bee all my life, and kind of shied away from this entrepreneurial spirit because my family is worker bees. My family, my grandfather, all my family, they just worked, and they said, "You got to work hard, son." And and so I worked hard. And what I realized at one juncture is that a company that I poured my heart and soul into, we decided to separate because there was just no more space for me to grow in that organization. And it was purely because of, just like the things that I'm faced with as a young Black man, institutionalized and systemic racism, not because I'm a poor performer. And in that transition, I was able to come back to drum corps and realize how important it was that those things that Mr. White, our founder, planted in my head, how important it was to just remember that you're great. So you don't have to worry. You don't have to work for anybody else. And you have the time and energy now to focus on these kids and give them that same love and attention that Mr. White gave us, and have the drum corps give that village. So what happens is you produce leaders. They think in the leader mindset. When they walk into situations, they're the first to volunteer to do something. They're the first to say, even though I'm scared, I'm going to try this because drum corps puts me in this space to where I've learned to be comfortable with myself and know that I can complete whatever task is in front of me. So the hope and idea is that if someone wants to be a school teacher, they know the importance of teaching to kids because they see that and they feel that in our village because they're surrounded by that in our village. If they want to be an entrepreneur, they know that they can set up a business for themselves and work for themselves and be sustainable. Nothing's out of reach in today's age when technology levels the playing field. If my kid is just as creative as a kid, my kid west of 9th is just as creative as a kid that lives in whatever other zip code west of 9th, but they don't have the same access to the technology, then somebody else is going to win. But if I throw this brand new MacBook Pro in his hands and teach him and give him the tools and be capable to use that successfully, he can compete with any kid here or anywhere, and may the best man win, right? Yep. Not just because you have access, you win by default.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And the entrepreneurial spirit, the grit, right? That I think, is so important, especially for somebody launching a new endeavor. And, from a teaching perspective, thinking about impressionable youth and what they see, that's incredibly important, right? So you're going to be working with, the participants in the drum corps, and they're going to see you starting your new business. Like that's powerful stuff right there. And it's not, it's just you being you. So that's amazing.
And not only me, I don't want to interrupt you, but I just want to, I got to shine some light on my brother, the executive director that directs the drum corps with me. Yeah. 10 years ago, he had a vision of being a DJ, right? 10 years ago to the day yesterday, he was asking for suggestions of a name for his DJ business. Yesterday, he embarked on his first live radio performance as he's a resident for a radio station here, and he's online busting his DJ, and he runs the drum corps, right? He's an artist. He's been able to try to find balance. Albert Shoe, make love DJ always. He's been able to try to find balance between keeping his artistry and letting the kids see him in this light as well, right? And so that imagery, that representation, like you just said, is just so important. And it's not just Jerome, it's what River City Drum Corps just tries to surround our kids with.
Absolutely.
You know, and because you know, I know we're talking about Jerome now, but part of River City Drum Corps' whole thing is just like you said earlier, we're a huge village and a huge network for our kids. And it's important for me to acknowledge that and shine that light, even if the space is specifically for Jerome right now, because Jerome didn't get here by himself. You know what I mean?
Right. Ben didn't get here by himself either, you know. Right. Absolutely. So Jerome, one question that we ask all of our guests on the Canopy Cafe, because our vision is to make Kentucky first in good business and to really create this premier ecosystem. How would you define good business?
Oh, I've thought about that question for days. And you know, good business, at the end of the day, obviously I define good business as someone being profitable, but also there's a level of obligation and charity to the community that you service. So my definition of good business may take us back in time when there was a simpler time when you would go to a kid's t-ball game and you would see the local hardware store on the back of the shirt because they sponsored it. So that's what good business looks like. Business invested in the community, and not just certain parts of the community, but any community, especially those that are not receiving adequate resources. There's space for businesses to invest and champion, because the people that make the business successful are those that are working every day. It's not necessarily the big wigs and the CEOs. So just remembering the everyday worker bees that make you successful. I know that's not a clear, concise answer, but that's kind of, you know, my vision definition of good business is obviously profitable, but being a part of the community that you serve, and not forgetting the little people.
Absolutely. And you're right. I mean, at the end of the day, businesses have to make a profit.
Absolutely.
And there's, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, we have to, as a nonprofit organization and as one that is, you know, really focused on, you know, building up some of the, I mean, every business is, you know, centered on profitability, right? That's always going to be an important metric. Absolutely. You know, what we do is try and encourage other metrics, you know, regarding like social and environmental wherewithal. And so like, it's this recoupling of the consciousness to the business model that society benefits all around when successful businesses have that heart that you're talking about, that want to sponsor the Little League teams, that want to take care of their people, that want to, you know, give back and improve the environment that surrounds them. And that leads to better business results in the long run, right?
Absolutely.
Better profitability. People, that's who I want to buy from. That's like, I see a hardware store that's supporting the Little League, I'm going to choose them over somebody else, you know?
Absolutely. The choice of my dollar is important. And I think I've been thinking about you guys because we've been having these conversations. And so I've tried to explain to people the idea and the concept. And while some can grasp easily on the fact that you want some actionable items behind being a good business, I just started equating it to, there was a time 10, 15, maybe 20 years ago when people were fighting for businesses to be more conscious about recyclable materials and going paperless and watching how much you print and using recyclable paper. Now, a number of huge organizations are virtually paperless. The last company I worked for was a Fortune 500 company, and they were phasing paper out in huge ways quickly. And the idea now to be paperless because you're conscious of your footprint, your carbon footprint, was not something that people thought about 20 years ago. And I'm old enough to remember. So imagine the impact that you have. This is the same thing. People aren't thinking about actionable items in this arena. They're just saying we love Black people. We love LGBTQI. We love all of these people, but nobody's doing anything. 10, 15 years from now, you guys are going to be their footprint on their impact, right, is going to is starting right now.
Yeah.
And I think that's a beautiful thing to be a part of, brother.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I really couldn't. And I think capitalism and what we see now being one of the most influential things ever to have existed in human history, and therein lies a huge responsibility to improve humanity, right? And we can do it. Like, that's what it's all about. And there are big global movements that exist, and ours is really just grassroots, small business, helping at every level. So. We're about at time here, Jerome. I know we could just get to talking like all day, but before we part ways, I definitely want to lift up the opportunity for people to connect with you. So tell us where people can go to learn more about the River City Drum Corps.
River City Drum Corps. If you want to get some information about us, please log on or jump on the website www.rivercitydrumcorpsky.com. There's opportunities for booking when we get back into that space. We haven't been performing, but there's opportunity to learn more information about River City Drum Corps. And you can find us on Facebook at Louisville River City Drum Corps. And that's kind of what we're able to keep up a little bit quicker response time on turning over information because Facebook is just social. So that's where you can find us right now, every day. And hopefully soon you'll get to hear us back in the streets again, playing some good music.
Perfect. And then in regards to your new venture, people can connect with you on LinkedIn. It's so new that you're getting everything built right now. And so the best way for folks to connect with your business is to visit your LinkedIn profile. And I see some information down here. Is it just under Jerome Baker on LinkedIn?
It is right now. Again, jumping during this period of COVID, I just kind of said, hey, I'm going to finally do this, something that I've been dreaming about for years. And so as more information becomes available, I'll be able to get the word out. But to reach me now, Jerome 502 Baker. I'm on LinkedIn, and this is Louisville. I'm not that hard to find.
Truer words have never been spoken. Not that hard to find.
Yes, sir.
Well, Jerome, it's as always a pleasure to chat with you virtually. I look forward to the day when we can do it in person soon.
Absolutely.
And so really appreciate you and your work, and thanks for stopping by the Canopy Cafe today.
Man, thanks for having me. This was a great conversation. I did not know that you were this good at interviewing people. Good job, dude.
Hey, I appreciate your kind words. I'm just doing what I can, Yes,
sir. Good job, brother. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay. Talk to you later, Jerome. All right. Well, that was Jerome Baker, new friend to Canopy, old friend of some of our colleagues, particularly Ben Solee. And obviously, Jerome has been doing amazing work with the River City Drum Corps. So be sure to check them out on Facebook and visit their website. And hopefully we'll be able to see some of their shows in the near future. Also, keep Jerome's new venture top of mind. If you're interested in connecting with him, if you have some ideas or interested in their services, check them out. Do want to lift up Canopy's event. So this Thursday at 12 p.m., Canopy is hosting our Beyond 27 live stream event, and this is a celebration and a look forward as Canopy transitions the 27 campaign, the successes that we've seen, the amazing partners and businesses that have been behind us. We're talking about moving forward, and we're very glad to feature Charles Booker as our keynote speaker. This will be hosted by James Lindsay. There will be a panel of businesses and some other surprises. So please, and Scott T. Smith will be performing during the event too. So you won't want to miss it. You can learn more and register at canopyky.org, or you can always email me, Ben Smock, at canopyky.org. And thank you all for tuning in to the Canopy Cafe. We'll be back Thursday morning with New Directions and L Home, talking about a really cool partnership that they've recently announced, and we look forward to seeing you all then. So take care.